Hey everybody, HomeSliceHenry here, and in today's video we're going to be taking a look at a very spicy team in the Open Ultra League. These battles were submitted to the channel by a member of the community, the Mega Junko, so many thanks for the battle submission. Now the team consists of a Buzzwole on the lead with level 50 Probopass and level 50 Lantern in the back. So it goes without saying, a very spicy team, more of a team for fun than for climbing. But against all odds, this battler was able to climb to the mid 2300s with the team. So without further ado, let's hop into the matches and let's check out the team in action in the Open Ultra League. Hopping to the first match, picking up an amazing lead, Buzzwole into Greninja, opponent safe switches into a Charizard, and they're gonna regret that decision as in comes Lantern. They go for the Blast Burn, that does absolutely nothing to the Lantern. Lantern is gonna look to overfarm and fire off the Surf before the Charizard's able to make its next move. Down goes the Charizard, opponent sending in Greninja, so they are completely core broken to shreds by the XL Lantern. Thunderbolt will be shielded, Lantern continuing to farm, opponent is going to be firing off the Night Slash, but Night Slash is not going to KO. Lantern has quite a bit of health, Lantern not going to be able to be farmed down either, opponent is going to have to throw yet another charge move into the Lantern. Back in comes the Buzzwole. Buzzwole will be able to withstand a Hydro Cannon here, so I do really like the no shield. Hydro Cannon connects in the back. It's Charm Alolan Ninetales. In comes the Probopass, and the opponent concedes the match. Back-to-back amazing leads, leading Buzzwole into the Alolan Sandslash. Opponent save switches into Giratina, and in comes Probopass. This Shadow Sneak won't do a ton of damage. Opponent, they actually go for the Dragon Claw. It looks like they may be running Ancient Power as their second move. So due to the Rock Steel typing from the Probopass, the opponent's energy is actually entirely walled here. They're firing off Dragon Claw after Dragon Claw. Even so, honestly, the Giratina is putting in a surprising amount of work into the Probopass. This team, as you can see, is extremely weak to Giratina, so it's very fortunate to catch the Giratina on the save switch where it can be aligned to the Probopass. Opponent tried to go for the Ancient Power, fishing for a potential boost. Probopass continuing to farm and firing off energy, but losing CMP to the Giratina. Giratina going for another Ancient Power, again trying to fish for a potential boost. Rock Slide will connect onto the Giratina. Giratina getting very low, but so is the Probopass. Can Giratina actually flip this? Dragon Claw gets the Probo low, and the Probopass with 1 HP able to make it to the Rock Slide. Rock Slide is shielded. In comes the Buzzwole. Buzzwole looking for the counter down. Now, unfortunately, the Sandslash is not going to be aligned against the Buzzwole anymore, but Buzzwole does exit with energy. Opponent in the back, they have Golisopod, Buzzwole overfarming and going to be firing off the Lunge. Lunge will deal some pretty solid chip damage here, and Lunge of course does come with a guaranteed attack drop. Buzzwole committing the shield as Golisopod fires off the Aerial Ace. Buzzwole going for another Lunge. This will not be enough to knock out, but it will get this Golisopod low. Continuing to farm up is the Buzzwole. Opponent going for the Aerial Ace, and they're potentially going to get farmed down here. They're forced to switch into the Sandslash, and Sandslash getting absolutely torn to shreds by the counters. Superpower will guarantee the final shield. In comes the Water Gun Lantern, and let's check the bulk on this Lantern here. Opponent goes for the Drill Run. Looks like 2 Drill Runs will be enough to KO, but the Sandslash cannot get there. Surf reached by the Lantern, taking down the Sandslash. All that's left in the back is the low HP Golisopod, and that's game over. We've got the battle of counter users in the next match, Buzzwole into Poliwrath. This is a matchup that typically Buzzwole has the edge. Counters, of course, hitting the Poliwrath for neutral, whereas the Buzzwole does resist fighting. Lunge, not going to be shielded by the opponent, but honestly, that's perfectly fine. The goal was just to apply a debuff. Icy Wind will connect. Opponent save switches into Gliscor. Those are double super effective wing attacks, but the Gliscor is now going to be answered by the Lantern. Lantern, of course, running Water Gun hitting for super effective damage, and the opponent is able to successfully bait with a Night Slash. Farming up is the Lantern, going for the Surf. Opponent has quite a bit of energy here, so it does not surprise me whatsoever to see a shield. Lantern is going to no shield. Gliscor baits with the Night Slash, and that's going to cost them. Lantern now going to be met with an Earthquake, and we are going to see the double shield from the Lantern and the farm down. Lantern is going to leave with quite a lot of energy, and this energy is going to be threatening to the Poliwrath. Opponent sends in the Poliwrath, but that Poliwrath had 0 energy upon switching in. Thunderbolt is going to be shielded. Continuing to farm up is the Lantern. Lantern is barely going to get outpaced here, but if Poliwrath is running the standard moveset, which they are, Both charge moves are going to be resisted. And now we're going to see Lantern firing off the Thunderbolt. Thunderbolt will pick up the knockout. In the back, it's Charizard. In comes the Probopass, and the opponent resigns the match. Another good lead for Buzzwole, as this time it's going to lead into Shadow Swampert. Swampert does have the pacing advantage in this matchup, and we are going to see Swampert go for the Hydro Cannon before Buzzwole is able to debuff with a lunge. Hydro Cannon will connect. Buzzwole now going to return fire with the lunge. This is neutral damage onto the Swampert. Swampert is going to let that through. Buzzwole continuing to farm. Buzzwole is going to look to go for the one shield counter down here, as Hydro Cannon would have knocked out. So Buzzwole gets to exit this matchup with energy. Opponent sends in the Charizard. We see the save switch into the Lantern, and the opponent sends in Registeel. And oh my goodness, they are about to be sad that they switched when they see a Probopass in the back, ready to meet that Charizard. Unfortunately, the debuff does come through from the Zap Cannon onto the Lantern. Lantern returning fire with the Thunderbolt. Thunderbolt honestly does some decent damage even when debuffed. I'm surprised by how well XL Lantern is holding up, considering the fact that it does not get to 2500 CP. Registeel going to be firing off another charge move here. It's the Focus Blast. Focus Blast not going to be enough to KO. Lantern looking for the Surf, and Lantern with 1 HP able to hang on and make the last second charge move. Surf will connect. We see a simultaneous switch. Probopass into the Shadow Charizard. Shadow Charizard going to be firing off a charge move here. It is the Dragon Club bait, and that does get shielded. Probopass now going to be hit with a Blast Burn. This is going to hurt. Blast Burn, massive damage onto the Probopass. Probopass looking for the full farm down, but can't quite get there. The Charizard with low HP makes the Blast Burn and picks up the knockout. In comes the Lantern, gets one water gun in. Buzzwole counters down a Charizard and counters down a Registeel. Able to clutch an improbable win. Moving into the next match, we see a very familiar lead. The Poliwrath going up against the Buzzwole. Again, slight advantage for the Buzzwole here. Buzzwole going for the lunge right away. It doesn't matter if the opponent no shields. The goal is just to get that debuff. The lunge debuff is applied. Opponent has built up to a Scald, and we're going to see a no shield here from the Buzzwole. Buzzwole will be able to outpace the Poliwrath here. Buzzwole continuing to farm. Opponent goes for the superpower catch, but demonstrating great patience, holding on to energy, and now the Tentacruel save switch will be answered with the Water Gun Lantern. This is a situation where Spark would definitely be advantageous, as Water Gun is exerting basically no fast move pressure here. Going to fire off the Thunderbolt. Thunderbolt into the Tentacruel will be shielded. The opponent so far has not gotten a Scald debuff. They're firing off a third Scald here. Will this be the one to debuff? No, the RNG not there for the opponent. Lantern is going to make the last second Thunderbolt here before Tentacruel gets the farm down. Thunderbolt is going to connect. Down goes Tentacruel in the back. Opponent has Shadow Staraptor. Look at the spice. In comes Probopass. Probopass will have to be careful of a potential close combat from the Staraptor. We see the shields from the Probopass. Opponent is going to go for the Fly. Fly, of course, not going to debuff. Opponent is going to send in the Poliwrath, which will immediately be answered with the Buzzwole. Superpower gets the knockout. Back in comes the Staraptor, and this could get awkward. We're going to need to see the back-to-back Rock Slides reached, and they are reached, and that should mean game over here, as even if the opponent has the back-to-back, this is a CMP tie, so the opponent is not going to get to use that second move. They win CMP on the first, but the Fly is shielded. Probopass has the Rock Slide loaded. Rock Slide KOs the Shadow Staraptor. Very cool pick from the opponent, but that's a good game. Moving into the next match, but seeing the same leads as last game, Buzzwole into Poliwrath. At this point, this matchup is well known. It doesn't matter what the opponent decides to do, whether they shield or not on the first one. Buzzwole does very well here. Opponent get a save switch into Tentacruel. This could be a very similar comp to last time where they're trying to bait out a flyer, choosing to play it differently. Going to rebank the lunge and then send in Probopass. Scald will connect. That does quite a lot of damage, but importantly, it does not put it to half HP. And that means Probopass will be able to tank the second Scald here. Scald will connect. Probopass very low on HP, but firing off the Zap Cannon. Does the opponent want to expend a shield here? They do not, and down goes Tentacruel. And this way, if the opponent does have a potential flyer in the back, the Lantern has been saved. In comes the Buzzwole. In the back, there's the flyer right on cue. In comes Talonflame, and Talonflame is in a world of hurt going up against XL Lantern. Flame Charge, that's not going to matter. It doesn't matter what Talon throws here. Everything is going to be resisted. Their only hope is just to keep boosting their attack more and more and more but that's still not going to be very helpful. Lantern, again, very comfortable no shield here as the opponent goes for the Fly. Fly, of course, the harder hitting move compared to Flame Charge, but before they can make it to another one, another Surf is reached by the Lantern. That Surf will be shielded. Opponent firing off energy, and we're going to see a no shield by the Lantern. Just going to save shields for the Buzzwole. In comes the Poliwrath. Poliwrath firing off energy. They're going to be able to apply a forever debuff since this is the final Pokemon available for Junko. But Junko, even at -1, this superpower should be doing quite a lot of damage to the Poliwrath. Poliwrath, oh no, they live on 1 HP. They make another move. This is now going to be a double debuffed move into the Talonflame. In comes the Talonflame, but the Talonflame is just too low. It doesn't matter that it's resisted and double debuffed. Buzzwole is a Talonflame counter confirmed, and that's game over. Picking up a terrible lead in the next match, Buzzwole into Galarian Weezing. The Lantern save switch is answered by Virizion, completely hard countered on the lead and the swap. Everything going wrong in this game. The good news is that the Virizion did need to be baited out. Probopass, of course, is completely helpless going up against Virizion, but Lantern is in a world of hurt as it just cannot do anything to this Virizion. Virizion massively overfarming, allowing Lantern to make it to a Surf. Surf is going to connect. Opponent finally going to fire off some energy. Wouldn't be surprised to see an undercharge and a farm down here. And they actually go for the Sacred Sword undercharge and the farm down. So very, very nice as they now exit with a massive amount of energy. The good news for the Buzzwole, however, is that this energy does not do anything. You can see there Leaf Blade after Leaf Blade. Buzzwole is not going to mind. Probopass is going to need to put the team on his back if this game is going to end up being a win. In comes the Weezing. We see a switch into the Probopass. Weezing staying in here and firing off energy. We're going to see a shield from the Probopass as Weezing goes for the Brutal Swing bait. A bit unfortunate to shield the bait. Continuing to farm up. We're going to see the no shield now from the Probopass. Is it the overheat? No, it's just going to be a Brutal Swing. So it looks like the opponent is potentially running Play Rough, so they're stuck going for Brutal Swing. Going for the Zap Cannon. Zap Cannon does get respected, but Zap Cannon does get that ever important attack drop. Now those Brutal Swings that were already not doing a lot of damage are doing even less. Probopass continuing to farm, but it is a long way to get to a Zap Cannon. Going for yet another Brutal Swing. I wonder what's in back. Maybe a Flyer, just judging by the fact that they are refusing to switch out of this Weezing matchup. Weezing going for yet another Brutal Swing. It's the CMP tie to the Rock Slide. Rock Slide not going to be enough to KO here, but it will do a solid amount of damage. Opponent commits the shield. They're firing off energy with the Weezing. This is going to involve a very careful overfarm by the Probopass. Probopass farming up to the back-to-back, making sure not to play to a CMP tie. Rock Slide, not quite enough to get the KO. Switch into the Buzzwole and getting the snipe in the back. It's Talonflame, and we're going to see the superpower thrown. I like this, trying to limit the amount of farm that Talonflame gets. Talonflame, they only get 2, and that's a game-winning superpower there. Oh, what a play. Debuffing the defense with the superpower meant that the opponent only got 2 Incinerates instead of 3. They're unable to leave with a move, and that's a win. Tough lead in the final match, Buzzwole into Clefable. But this time the Lantern save switch is not hard punished by a Virizion. The opponent staying in with the Clefable and firing off the Moonblast as soon as they get there. Lantern continuing to farm. Clefable only did 6 Fairy Winds here, and this cannot be a Moonblast. Moonblast is 7/7/6, so a very nice no shield there, understanding the counts. Opponent sends in Poliwrath, and Poliwrath will immediately be met with a Thunderbolt. Lantern able to make it to Thunderbolt number 2, and this will grab the knockout unless the opponent is willing to commit a shield. They will commit a shield, and Lantern is going to get countered down, and in comes Buzzwole. Buzzwole going to be able to withstand the damage from the Poliwrath here, but the important thing is to bait out the Poliwrath to hopefully let Probopass sweep in the back. Icy Wind will be no-shielded. Buzzwole now debuffed. Poliwrath going for yet another Icy Wind. The Buzzwole is still able to get the farm down. Looking to switch. In comes Clefable in the back. They have Tentacruel. Tentacruel, of course, can hit for super effective damage with the Scald, but the Probopass able to return fire with the super effective Spark and the Zap Cannon. Unfortunately, Tentacruel does get the debuff from the Scald. Probopass going for the Zap Cannon. Zap Cannon does get shielded, and now it's Probopass's turn to debuff the Tentacruel. Tentacruel going for the Scald, but this is now a -1 Scald, so Probopass able to tank that pretty decently. Probopass now going for the Zap Cannon. This is debuffed. Is it going to be enough to knock out the Tentacruel? It is. In comes the Clefable. Clefable firing off energy. Meteor Mash is going to hit for neutral damage here onto the Probopass, but Probopass is able to withstand that damage. Probopass farming up. We see a switch into the Buzzwole to reset the debuff, and now things are looking very, very good. Lunge is going to get Clefable low. Clefable trying for the farm down, but it's not to be. Buzzwole will be able to secure the win via superpower. All in all, these were some very fun battles, and it's cool to see a team that has not one but 2 Pokemon that don't even get to 2400 CP getting some wins. As I mentioned at the start, this is definitely more of a team for fun than for climbing. Junko did have some very nice success with it. Junko was able to get to, I believe, what would have been leaderboard ELO with this team. Granted, leaderboards weren't out yet, but 2351 ELO, I believe, was the max with this team, and when boards dropped today, the bottom of boards was like 2330, so it definitely would have been leaderboards at the time. But then again, it does go to show that even with a team that has many flaws, if you have a game plan around it and you can play extremely precise, you can still get some wins. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. If you're enjoying the content, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't. And a special thank you as always to our members here on YouTube. The support you guys provide is sincerely appreciated, so thank you guys oh so very much. And until next time, I've been HomeSliceHenry.